I ask you, why are we having fuel shortage in Kenya? You will simply tell me it's because there's war. And then I ask you, sis, what does the war have to do with fuel? And that's where your trail of thought ends. Let me save you the embarrassment. So, how we get crude oil is that dead plants and marine organisms get buried, and then they get heated and pressed. They decay over years. They become crude oil. Why the Middle Eastern part of the world is very central to all of this is that the extraction cost in Middle East is relatively lower. Oil is closer to the surface. That means drilling is much easier. You don't have to go all the way deep. And the other reason is that the oil deposits are in huge deposits. Si ati moja iko Narok, ingine iko Western, ingine iko, they are all concentrated in one place. Stay with me. One thing that's unique about oil is that it's traded on a global dollar-based market. So if it's increasing in price here, let's say in Ukraine, it's going to increase all over the world. When I say Middle East, Saudi Arabia should come to mind, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, all these places. Now, they're currently experiencing instability. And what happens with instability is that the economic activities that used to go on usually are disrupted. There's a place called the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this is where 20% of global oil passes through. If there's insecurity around that area, it means that 20% of the oil that usually comes to the rest of the world is not going to come. Oil is exported brought into Kenya via water. There's two ways which oil can come into Kenya. It can come as refined oil, which is mostly how we get oil in Kenya, or it can come as crude oil and then we refine it in Kenya, but the refinery we have in Mombasa is not to a level where it can refine for the whole country. So it's basically refining on a very small scale. So we majorly import oil that is already refined. So if it's petrol, if it's diesel, if it's jet fuel, if it's LPG, which you use for cooking gas, all these are byproducts of crude oil. Once it gets to Mombasa, it's given to depots, and then the people who usually sell it to you, which is Kina Total, Shell, Rubies, get it from there. They bring it with trucks and you have it. So if at all where it comes from is having issues and it's not able to come to you, or the supply that, let's say, whatever was passing through, the 20% that was passing through the Strait of Hormuz is not going to pass. That means we're going to get it from other places. But now it means that they're going to increase the amount of which they're charging, or they're selling it for, because I mean, we're the only ones with the oil. The rest of the guys have security issues. So if the supply is low and the demand is relatively higher, that means the cost is going to increase. And you may think this does not affect you directly. Transportation sector is one of the biggest parts of our economy currently. In case you didn't know, there's oil that was discovered in Kenya, in Turkana. That was in the year 2012. When you do your math, that is approximately 14 years ago from that time to right now. And apparently, it is still being developed. Research is still being done, and it's not producing at a commercial level where it can supply to Kenya. And I was doing my research and found that if it was to be explored like properly, it would supply about 40% upwards of the fuel that we need in Kenya. So if I come from an area where there's a lot of drought and there's no water, and then I come and drill a borehole, I'm not going to solve everyone's problems, but I'll ease the pressure of having to depend all of us on one source of water, because I have given you the option of borehole. I don't know why it's taken 14 years and we're still counting because we're not producing on a level that can help the whole country. I don't get it, man.